Welcome, everyone. It is 11:01. We have a lot to go through, so I am going to stop promptly. I know more people are coming in, so I'm just going to go over some quick housekeeping items as people join in. So welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you're here, and we're looking forward to sharing this information with all of our partners. I'm just going to go over a few housekeeping items for today's webinar. Today's webinar is being recorded. Everyone in the audience is muted. And if you want to ask questions, you can type it in the Q&A box. The Q&A icon is located at the bottom of the screen, and we will have staff that is going to be answering all of the questions during today's presentations today. And if we don't get in it, we do have a Q&A session at the end. As you can see, we have a very large presenter team. I'm Stephanie Tarek, Manager of Energy Efficiency and Customer Programs at Liberty. Today's agenda consists of what we've done and what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, program updates, language access, community efforts and workforce, improved customer experience, next steps, and then, of course, we're going to have the questions at the end. What we've done and what we're going to do. The 25 to 27 plan builds on more than 2 decades of ratepayer investment in energy efficiency and electrification in the Commonwealth. These are nation-leading programs that support approximately 76,000 high-quality energy efficiency and electrification jobs in Massachusetts. You'll see that there's a significant amount of investment that we've made from 2013 to 2023 on the left. And then looking in the next 3 years, which is on the right, it's a significant amount of investment that we're investing in low and moderate income households in the next 3 years. And by far, the most in any plan that we are investing in low and moderate income customers, $1.4 billion to the low and moderate income group. This is going to be a challenge, and we all have our work cut out for us in the next 3 years. But if anyone can do it, it's this team and these partners that we have joining today. We can make it happen. How are we going to do it? Major enhancements for the 2025 to 2027 plan includes reducing greenhouse gas emissions, enhancing program access for all, strengthen and diversify our workforce, and deliver an improved customer experience. These are the 4 pillars that we'll be going over. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Enhanced home energy assessments to provide interested customers with recommendations and opportunities for pursuing decarbonization of their homes and small businesses. A simplified customer experience to drive greater adoption of electrification through a managed delivery option for installation of heat pumps, starting first with moderate income customers. We will be implementing a new statewide model to jointly fund and deliver prescriptive electrification projects that will simplify and improve customer experience and ensure that funding is available for customers of all fuel types. Under this model, we will have a single statewide rebate processing vendor for all PAs and implement cross-PA data sharing for customers of multiple PAs. This will reduce customer confusion and improve the customer experience by ensuring that residential customers get the right person quickly when they need guidance or experience an issue with their rebate. Reducing the cost of electrification to customers by pursuing outside funding. We will continue to aggressively pursue outside funding to support our decarbonization efforts and reduce the burden on customers. Sources of outside funding for 25 to 27 term include, but are not limited to, proceeds from the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative auctions, Federal Inflation Reduction Act funding for electrification of moderate income customers and designated equity communities, Federal Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act funding to install batteries for low and moderate income customers, and will also work with the Massachusetts Community Climate Bank and other institutions to identify ways to reduce the costs of heat loan payments to customers. Enhanced program access. We're committed to ensuring that all eligible residents and businesses across the Commonwealth can access, participate in, and benefit from the MassSAFE programs. For 2025 to 27 plan, we propose to invest over $1 billion in incentives for energy efficiency and electrification improvements for low and moderate income customers and renters. This is the largest investment in these customer groups ever put forward in an energy efficiency and decarbonization plan in the Commonwealth. We're particularly focused on serving customer groups who have historically participated at lower rates, including customers in equity communities, moderate income customers, renters, customers who speak languages other than English, which you'll be hearing LOTE customers, and small businesses, and do so without increasing these customer energy burdens. The success of the 25 to 27 plan, ultimately, the Commonwealth's ability to meet its net zero commitments are dependent on having a workforce capable of providing energy efficiency and electrification and decarbonization services. Over the last decade, the energy efficiency workforce in Massachusetts has grown over 86% and now directly supports approximately 76,000 good-paying green-collar jobs. We recognize that a stable, trained, diverse, and adaptable labor pool is essential in the continued growth and success of our programs. To meet this need, we're pursuing several strategies in expanding our diversity and diversify a robust workforce. These efforts are designed to help us meet ambitious building efficiency, energy savings, and decarbonization goals with a workforce that reflects the diversity of communities and customers we serve. Deliver a state-of-the-art customer experience. Currently, customers lack a centralized location and appropriate customer support resources to help them understand the various options for decarbonizing their homes or small businesses, the next steps required to pursue them effectively, and how to efficiently access program supports and financial incentives. These challenges can pose barriers to participation, ultimately limiting customer adoption on the building decarbonization solutions critical to meeting the Commonwealth's climate and energy goals. Our objective is to deliver an improved customer experience through the following 5 key strategies: provide holistic, multilingual support for customers via a creation of the statewide contact center, ensure timely rebate processing and improved rebate experience, improve the customer experience for electrification, starting with low and moderate income households and renters, standardize the custom pathway for C&I customers, and invest in a digital enhancement and improved reporting. The PAs have proposed 2 different initiative name changes in the next 25 to 27 plan. The first being Residential Coordinated Delivery, which will be called Residential Turnkey Solutions, RTS. Of course, we need another acronym. And the second change will be from Residential Retail to Residential Rebates. And I will now turn it over to Joel Martell to discuss residential new construction and renovations.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. My name is Joel Martell. I work on the customer energy management team at National Grid. I'm going to be walking through the upcoming changes to the residential new construction program, commonly referred to as RNC. I want to preface this section with saying that the RNC program has been redesigned to align with state policy. That redesign will go into effect July 1st of this calendar year and will continue into the next 3-year plan. So the RNC overview you'll see outlined right here. Mass Save will no longer provide incentive payments to RNC projects that are utilizing fossil fuels in 2025 and beyond. Projects currently enrolled with fossil fuels, whether that's heating, hot water, cooking, clothes drying, or other end uses, will need final submission by September 30th of this year to assure processing, and payment is issued in this calendar year of 2024. So for renovations and additions, renovations will be allowed to continue to utilize fossil fuels, but will not receive any support for those measures. And for additions, the fossil fuels will not be allowed to be extended into those portions. For multifamily projects, they will be allowed to use fossil fuels for hot water heating, and that's new construction projects as well. But of course, the PAs will no longer incentivize that specific end use. And ultimately, the program goal is to drive optimized levels of efficiency coupled with electrification that allows buildings to achieve net zero. So here is the program overview. You'll see from left to right, you'll see the RNC low rise, which is single family and 1 to 4 unit projects. In the middle, we have multifamily 5+ units, and then all the way on the far right, you'll see renovations and additions. So the low rise and multifamily is a tiered approach. They're very similar. So we start with our kind of introductory base tier. So this is a percentage above baseline. With our second tier offering is relying on the national standard of Energy Star. So with a slight difference between the two, in low rise, you'll see the Energy Star Next Gen, which is the Energy Star's new standard. And then in multifamily, you have the multifamily new construction version 1.2. And then the highest tiered offerings in both of these pathways or both these programs is the passive house. On the single family side, you'll see that passive house pre-certification is mandatory, but full certification is optional. And then new to this redesign is these big market transformation adders, which will be offered for specific technologies and uses, which will be added onto the project's incentives if you're utilizing those specific technologies. I want to point out that MassSave does have a lot of training resources available. So if you go onto the MassSave website, there's trainings for passive house and all electric homes. Also, the code environment is always changing. We have the new stretch code that has come out recently within the last 12 months, and now we have the new specialized code. The new base code will be coming out shortly as well, which will be based on the 2021 International Energy Conservation Code. So MassSave does have energy code training and support. So if there's any questions around compliance or any code specific questions with the energy code, feel free to come on the website, check out the trainings, and you can request any technical support through those avenues. And now I'll turn it over to Chris McClellan, who will discuss the residential turnkey solutions.
Thank you, Joel, and good morning, everyone. I'm Chris McClellan, the supervisor for our residential programs here at Eversource, here to talk about our Residential Turnkey Solutions Program, formerly known as RCD. At a high level, RTS is a comprehensive decarbonization program for residential market rate customers. It is centered around a sort of primary entry point of the home energy assessment, and the purpose of that is to provide customers with actionable recommendations that facilitate multiple steps along a decarbonization journey. Some hallmarks of the RTS program that will be continuing going forward is competitive or fixed pricing on many measures, robust end-to-end QA and project facilitation services, as well as the ability to deliver instant incentives at the point of sale for customers. And as always, customer choice and customer education are pillars of the RTS program experience that we will continue, and I would say even build off of more greatly going forward. Some enhancements to RTS that we will touch on today will be the evolution of home energy assessments to more fully embrace and support decarbonization, an expanded range of turnkey solutions delivered through this program, build out of our moderate income offers, accessibility and support for moderate income households, as well as specific strategies and offers for a set of designated equity communities. In this shift to decarbonization, again, the HEA will still be that primary entry point to the program, and sort of primary mechanism for customer engagement and education. However, it will evolve both thematically and in execution to more clearly embrace and support decarbonization and more of the decarbonization process. It'll start with an HEA report overhaul, which we recognize as long overdue. It will include more actionable recommendations and turnkey solutions, the concept of a decarbonization journey and providing customers a starting point and an ideal endpoint and next steps along that path will be presented and continued throughout the customer's experience, all of which we believe will just continue to strengthen that connection, that critical connection between traditional energy efficiency and weatherization that we've always provided, and that next step of proper electrification. On expanding the range of turnkey solutions, I mentioned before how we're able to provide instant incentives at the point of sale. We have the fully facilitated project experience, and pricing clarity for customers. Those are all hallmarks of the weatherization program that we've had for years, and that's what we're looking to build off of in the 25 to 27 term. So initially, for all moderate income households, they will have access to no-cost pre-weatherization and pre-electrification barrier repairs, as well as no-cost heat pumps through this turnkey model. And then building off of that effort and momentum, by 2027 or the latter part of the plan, there will be also a turnkey heat pump path for all market rate customers, albeit not at 100% incentives. Both of these turnkey pathways will be offered alongside the more traditional open market residential rebates pathway, so that we're supporting customer choice and the ability for customers to kind of choose their own adventure. All of this concentrating solutions through turnkey approaches while also offering parallel paths signifies our commitment to a better customer experience. Finally, for me, we recognize decarbonization is complicated and that weatherization is a critical step in that process. And we are committed to exploring new solutions to weatherize Massachusetts building stock, which is not always a linear path, whether that be innovative materials or new approaches, even just the coordination of some of the new best practices we're learning around the pairing of weatherization and electrification, as well as simplified or streamlined pathways for customers to get weatherized. We're open to exploring all of these, and we'll continue to look at how to integrate these into our RTS program experience. With that said, I'm going to turn it over now to Chris Lavallee from National Grid. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, Chris Lavallee with National Grid. And so I am going to talk a bit about our moderate income incentives and enhancements. So we've recognized that our moderate income program has been, it's fallen a bit short on its goals, and we've really been in process working with stakeholders, trying to figure out what can we do to enhance this program. So some of these we've actually already started on very recently. But I'm just going to go through what we've done. So expanded qualification criteria. So we've had it at 61 to 80% of state median income. After hearing from stakeholders, we recognize that we need to add area median income as well. So that's something that's actually in place as of just a few weeks ago. But adding the area median income just enables more people to participate who are perhaps in more expensive areas, like perhaps the Boston area, where it's much more expensive to live. And so this definitely expands the qualification for customers. Self-attestation for weatherization. So this is another thing that we heard from stakeholders. We have a verified income process for customers that we've had for, I guess, about 1.5 years or so, where customers go on and they upload just some information about themselves, their income, and they have to really prove what their income is and their household size. And we thought this was fairly simple, like a simple ask of customers, but we've come to find out that it really was a bit of a barrier. So we determined that if we add self-attestation, where we simply show a customer an income table with household size, and they could just say, yes, I qualify, I fit into that, or no, I don't, and then we would put them to the appropriate program. But this is so now we have self-attestation, but I just want to note, this is for weatherization only. So they still have to go through the verified income process if they're going to go to the next step and get heat pumps, or if they have to do pre-weatherization barrier mitigation. That's mainly because these are just much more costly measures than weatherization would be. And so we just want to really ensure that people are definitely verified as moderate income. And there's the turnkey process for installation. So Chris M. talked about this, the statewide self-attested 100% weatherization. And so there's going to be a whole turnkey process where we essentially have more partnerships, a little bit more data collection, just to really help the customer through with more of a guided process of, okay, you're doing the weatherization, now on to the next thing. Like, we'll help do a little bit more hand holding to get you to those next steps of getting the heat pump. Or if you need to do pre-weatherization and pre-electrification, barrier mitigation, we can help you along that process. And so I also wanted to call out some designated communities. So we've done a few initiatives in the past with specific communities getting particular offers. And so we wanted to continue with that, with just providing some additional investments and funding into particular communities to try to test these out. So essentially, it's a program for we selected communities with high concentrations of low and moderate income renters to provide some additional incentives for. So they would go through and have no cost weatherization for all the customers and increase funding for weatherization and electrification of rental properties. And then in collaboration with the Department of Energy Resources, PAs will also leverage some funding from the Federal Inflation Reduction Act to support electrification of moderate income customers in these communities. So you can see the list there. So for 2024, we haven't launched this yet. We don't have an exact date just yet, but the selected communities are Quincy, Brockton, Plymouth, Springfield, and Oak Bluffs. So I guess stay tuned for when that whole process starts. But going forward into the next plan, we have 21 other communities that are proposed. So this is just kind of to do a bit of a testing to see how this program works out and to try to learn from it before we expand it to more communities. And with that, I will turn it over to Melanie to talk about some residential retail rebates.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie Cohen. I'm a lead residential strategy analyst at National Grid. And yep, I will be talking about our residential rebates program, formerly known as the retail program. So you can go to the next slide, please. What exactly is the rebates program? It's still a broad integrated marketplace that positions the energy efficient equipment as the more attractive primary choice than the less efficient equipment. When customers are making their purchasing decisions either online, in store, or through independent contractors and distributors. We also provide education to customers to help them make informed decisions. Of course, there are rebates and incentives to help those customers make efficient choices, more financially attractive, and then training and support for market actors. So program components, just to go a little bit deeper into what these are. So rebates and incentives. We offer rebates and incentives to make it more financially easy for customers to adopt these more efficient measures. You will see that we are not offering incentives or rebates for fossil fuel heating and water heating equipment in the next term. We are currently phasing incentives for those measures out in this current year. We will not be allowed to pay any money to customers or any program costs starting in 2025. So we have heat pump water heaters, battery powered lawn equipment, induction stoves. And as you can, probably guess, these are all electrification measures. And we want to offer as many measures as we can to help customers along their electrification journey. We'll also continue to offer Energy Star products, our smart thermostats, and hopefully we'll resume our appliance recycling program. These measures can be delivered through various delivery pathways. I won't go into too much detail, but we have downstream, midstream, instant in-store, and online marketplace pathways. We have quite a few education and outreach tools this coming term. We will continue offering decarbonization consultations, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in the coming slides. Energy advocate training, again, I'll go into a little more detail about that. We will continue to offer the heating comparison calculator, which is a public-facing calculator that will assist customers and contractors in understanding and comparing different heating system solutions. And then we do offer contractor training and support. We have our heat pump installer network. We will continue offering enhanced heat pump incentives. It is the more open market option for customers that Chris talked about in his slides if they choose not to go the turnkey pathway. And then we will continue with our quality control. We inspect a percentage of randomly selected installations. We're going to continue to invest in an improved rebate processing experience. We are working very closely with our rebate processor Resource Innovations right now to make the process more efficient for customers. We understand the significant challenges and frustrations that customers have experienced in the current term. And we're really working to eliminate delays and improve the customer experience and contractor experience. We want to reduce the number of applications with missing information with our online portal and do proactive outreach to customers who are missing information, and continue to increase staffing levels as needed, and again, optimize and reduce the time required for inspections while maintaining appropriate levels of post-installation review. Thanks. So no cost virtual decarbonization consultations. These are for customers. They're, as you can see, no cost. Customers can currently right now go online at masssave.com and schedule a consultation with our technical specialists. And in the next term, we will be expanding on these quite a bit. We will be, and hopefully sooner than next term, offering quote comparison services, which will help customers to compare different quotes that they're receiving from contractors for their potential heat pump installation. These quotes can be very different and hard to understand or compare to others. So this will really help customers choose a contractor that makes the most sense for their home. Also help with project planning. Customers may want to start their decarbonization or electrification journey at one point. Maybe it's an induction stove or a heat pump water heater, and our technical specialists will be able to assist with that. And then continued assistance when the customer is ready for their next step, if there is a next step for them, they can come back and talk to the technical specialist again and pick up where they left off. We're also going to be offering webinars and outreach to end-use residential customers. We want to really engage and support local communities and organizations who manage volunteer and coaching programs. And related, we will be developing a comprehensive training course that will be given either in person or virtually to community advocates, also known as champions or coaches. This training will consist of course, technical information, such as building science basics, best practices on heat pump design and installation, industry insights, important soft skills for working with homeowners and contractors. We really want to build capacity again, within communities to help residents adopt clean energy solutions. So another strategic enhancement that we are proposing in this plan is optional pre-verification. We want to provide a level of assurance and clarification of expectations prior to a customer installing a heat pump and applying for a rebate. Heat pump systems are, they can be expensive projects, and customers may want to understand, whether or not the model that they plan on installing is eligible, what financial rebate they are eligible for, prior to the actual installation, to just give that customer a level of assurance. And customers will still have to submit a rebate application after heat pump installation, but the customer, and it will also be an online portal. So it will be as hopefully easy as possible to use this online portal and get your pre-verification. Also, another benefit of pre-verification is that it gives us an additional customer touch point to be able to target different opportunities like weatherization. We all know weatherization is super important prior to installing heat pump systems. And then also we can direct customers to our income-based offers, if they may qualify. So just another touch point for customer education. Okay, so this is getting into the incentive, like rebate levels. Some are still TBD, so please bear with me. We are still going to offer a whole home air source heat pump rebate. That we do plan on reducing the rebate amount starting in 2026 by $1,000 each year. And we're doing that because we're trying to drive down heat pump system installation costs and also control the costs that we incur and ultimately our ratepayers incur. And we are still going to require the demonstration of sufficient weatherization for these whole home rebates. We're going to continue to require that the models be Energy Star 6.1 certified, and disconnection of the pre-existing heating system, which is a new to 2024. However, we will be offering a tiered whole home rebate amount based on home size. So below a certain square footage, we will offer a lower whole home rebate amount. Again, we are still working through what that may be. And also we're going to be adding a whole home solution or a whole home tier for customers who are ready to install a heat pump system, but not ready to disconnect that pre-existing heating system. They're not ready to, make the full transition to heating solely with their heat pump. And again, that's incentive structures is to be determined. So for partial home, we are making some changes to the incentive structure. We are transitioning from a per ton to a per outdoor condenser incentive structure. We want to, we received feedback that the dollar per ton structure is encouraging, it could be encouraging oversizing of heat pumps. It's not as intuitive, perhaps, to customers, and also creates some challenges, or it complicates, I should say, the rebate processing process. So we are going to transition to $2,000 per outdoor condenser. We are still trying to figure out the integrated controls requirement, if there will be one. And again, Energy Star 6.1 certified, and we'll still have the $500 bonus. This is for customers who weatherize prior to installing their partial home heat pump. Next slide, please. So we are offering whole home ground source heat pump incentives as well. We'll be keeping the rebate amount, $15,000 across the 3 years. And the same, eligibility requirements apply to ground source heat pumps that as do air source heat pumps, sufficient weatherization, disconnection. And then we will be creating a whole home option that for customers who choose not to disconnect as well. And then for partial home, we did include the $2,000 per outdoor condenser in the plan, but we've received some preliminary feedback that's been very valuable from various stakeholders that suggests that the per condenser incentive isn't appropriate for ground source heat pumps. So we're currently discussing an alternative to that partial home incentive structure that would be more conducive to this technology. And so again, $500 bonus for weatherization prior to heat pump installation, and the actual incentive amount TBD. And okay, and now I'm going to be passing it over to Brianna Kane.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wanted to touch upon our heat loan proposed changes in the next draft plan, 25 to 27. So some information that we wanted to share about these updates is noted on the slide. We have always been happy to sponsor the heat loan offering, and we know that it is a very popular option for customers to pursue energy efficiency improvements. We did want to communicate to you that we do intend to maintain a 0% interest loan. However, we will be changing the loan terms, going from 7 years to 5 years. And we will also be making some changes to the loan product offering cap. Prior to this 22 to 24 plan term, the loan cap had been 25,000. And in this plan, we had made some changes to increase the cap, particularly around heat pump adoption, to 50,000. As we've assessed that loan offering in this current term, we are making some changes to reduce that loan cap max to 25,000. And then we also wanted to share to you what measures would be eligible to finance on the heat loan that do require pre-authorization. So after your home energy assessment, or if you're looking to make other residential rebate improvements that are qualified products for the heat loan, you would go through the authorization process and then move forward with selecting a lender to see if you can get approved for the heat loan product offering. And so we are going to be including program eligible weatherization, some specific weatherization and other barriers that customers may be facing. The heat loan is also going to be eligible for Energy Star certified windows that must be done in conjunction with weatherization. Currently, as we do, residential batteries that enroll in connected solutions can utilize the heat loan. And then heat pumps that are intended to support heating and cooling, and heat pump water heaters. And that is the current update on the heat loan changes for the 25 to 27 plan term. Next, I'll be turning it over to Gabrielle Ostrov, and she will be talking about residential connected solutions.
Hey everyone, I'm Gabby and I work on the demand response team with Eversource. We help support the residential connected solutions program. So I'm going to talk about a few of our offerings and some things that we see coming into the future for the next plan. Okay, so as Brianna had mentioned, we have a battery program. So as you can see here, there's the residential rate of 275 per average kilowatt, which is discharged through the inverter. We don't look at whether it's going to the house or to the grid. We're just looking at pure power discharge, and that's over the course of the season. So over all events, your one average times that rate. And those incentives are paid obviously on an annual basis. The season is from June to September. And the checks are usually sent out to customers by the end of the following winter, early winter. And as you can see, as Brianna mentioned, there is the heat loan component as well with those devices. And then the other residential offering we have are smart thermostats. So we have a qualified product list of thermostats as well as batteries, which I should have mentioned. You have to have an eligible device, which you can find on our website. And so basically you enroll however many devices you have. Many homes have multiple zones, so you're able to enroll multiple thermostats. Per each device, you get $50 for acceptance, and then you get a $20 annual performance incentive, which are sent the following season as well. So you get the $50 upon enrollment, and then the $20 times the amount of devices you have enrolled, and that's sent to customers after each season. And so during the season, we have demand response events, which we're calling on these smart thermostats and batteries, and we're making small adjustments to the thermostats and or the batteries being discharged during those demand response events. So here are a few of the residential enhancements that we're seeing in the pipeline. They're on the horizon. We are hoping for the AMI rollout, which will offer more whole home technology agnostic programs and give us a little bit more of a specific picture into the customer data. Increased income eligible incentives, $100 for enrollment, $20 for annual incentive. Improved access to programs for low and moderate income customers. A specific example of this is the Generac funded grant to enroll LMI customer devices, and these will be batteries. We'll be working with the EEA and ISO New England Grid on gas and winter DR. And so we're thinking as we continue to electrify, we'll start to see more of winter peaking, which we don't quite yet. So we're hoping to kind of be ready and prepared for that through these development of winter programs. And then lastly, we're hoping to leverage thermostat manufacturer native offerings. So we have a couple of thermostat manufacturers who are kind of creating the capability through signing customers on through their terms and conditions to ensure that they're able to pull in these customers through like grid emergencies, and then we're able to tap into that level of asset for our targeted events, which are for our summer peaks. And I'm going to turn it over to Marilyn. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Gabby. I appreciate it. I'm Marilyn Marcelino. I'm Income Eligible Program Manager for the Low Income Program at Eversource. I'm going to talk about the single family 1 to 4 units. The Income Eligible Coordinated Delivery provides cost-effective energy efficiency products and services to residential customers. Income eligible is defined as at or below 60% of the state median income level for a 1 to 4 unit. Where 50% or more tenants are income eligible, we will service all units at 100% incentives. This means pre-weatherization barriers, heating systems, appliance upgrades from inefficient to efficient replacements. Also for the multifamily program, it's also at 100% incentives, providing decarb assessments along with AMP and heating assessments at no cost to our customers. Again, it must be greater than 50% of the units have to be at or below 60%. The difference between the single family and multifamily is that this is area medium income to qualify. And this is for 5+ units. If the qualification is met in the income eligible program, will cover all measures with the weatherization and heating system replacements for the multifamily units as well. And we also have the Deep Energy Retrofit Program, which is the DER, is designed for low-income multifamily building owners seeking a deeper decarbonization. The ER pathway provides a per MMBTU incentive for energy efficiency and electrification projects which achieve at least 40% EUI reduction. And let's take a look at the delivery pathway for income eligible. The income eligible program is designed to work with lean and our lead vendors. The lead vendors manage the delivery of the income eligible programs through the local CAP agency network and manages the work that qualified HPCs through PA funding and leveraging additional funding through LIHEAP, which is known as the Low Income Home Energy Assistant Program, which is HART-WAP and WAP. HART-WAP we will utilize for the heating systems, and WAP will utilize for the weatherization and appliances. And we also have ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, which is funding that is submitted through the municipality for funding for energy efficiency projects. These are funding sources for customers who receive not only the tested means for the discounted rate, but also receive fuel assistance. These funds assist in paying again for weatherization appliances and heating systems. Let's look at some of the enhancements for the 2025-2027. We have the new statewide client service center. Action for Boston Community Development, ABCD, operates and manages a statewide client service center. The SCSC facilitates the intake of lead and customer acquisition through several channels, including community first partners, website interactions, and participating vendors as well. We also have another initiative that we started a year ago, which is the quarterly CAP meeting. This is part of our renters plan. The meetings are held quarterly as a check-in with PAs and community agency program directors. And we've had 4 so far from when we first launched last year. The meetings review progress on the renter strategy, how renters are being served, and additional resources that would support CAP agencies to best reach renters and landlords. Recently, through the renters plan, PAs have modified our eligibility requirements for heating systems. Like I mentioned at the beginning, for the 1 to 4 unit homes, this is specifically for 1 to 4. This was accomplished by basing a rental's unit's eligibility for high efficiency heating systems based on occupants' renters' income, regardless of their landlord's income. Previously, income eligible residents residing in a 1 to 4 unit home could have their heating system replaced for efficiency reasons, regardless of owner's income eligibility. But however, other non-income eligible units were not eligible. This process change will allow all units in a 1 to 4 home to receive heating system as long as the 50% of the units meet income eligibility requirements. Now, another enhancement is the supplemental contractor capacity. Lean will continue to deliver through the supplemental contractor capacity. PAs and Lean aligned on the deployment of home performance contractors in the low income program to increase capacity, ensure timely service to income eligible customers. So it's going to help in which properties that have mixed income, which some of the units could be income eligible and market rate, and the customers are able to be serviced. And this will also minimize a customer's wait time. So it helps out on time to serve. And again, HPCs can market directly to these territories. And let's talk about the heat pump O&M. So once an income eligible customer gets a heat pump installed, it comes with a 1-year warranty from the time installed, so that the first 3 years are covered. Year 1 is covered by a manufacturer warranty. Year 2 and 3, PA funds the clean and tune maintenance of the heat pump that is installed. This is a way to educate our low-income customers on how to maintain their heat pump. We're going to talk about proactive electrification of fossil fuel systems. And PAs will proactively be reaching out as an outreach initiative to evaluate the equipment efficiency, age, and pre-existing conditions to determine replacement needs. The program administrator's strategy is to reduce the rate of heating emergencies so that we can set up a pathway in which we can contact customers with old fossil fuel systems and look into the possibility of switching them to a heat pump. Also, we're going to support comprehensive assessments. PAs will continue to promote one comprehensive assessment to address customer time constraints. This will allow customers to receive one audit where the home will be scoped out for energy efficiency upgrades, weatherization, heating system, appliance upgrades to a more efficient product, and other ways to reduce carbon emissions. This will happen all in one visit, and the home where the customer can also receive educational tips on how to reduce their energy burden and save on their monthly bills. So this is important, and it helps the customer to just have one audit rather than have a repeat. The audit should educate the customer on health and safety along with operational costs and what to expect on their next bill. And this will help an income eligible customer who has been chosen to, especially to go towards the electrification pathway. We will also be launching our income verification mechanism. We are working closely, PAs, with Lean on a new SOW called DRIVES, Discount Rate Income Verification Eligibility Services. This will allow a customer to get served under income eligible program via income qualifications outside of the fuel assistance season. Currently, fuel assistance is offered during the winter months, during November to May, but this scope of work will allow income screening outside of the fuel assistance, and we can get more customers involved and enrolled in the program and served. And if we also look at barrier mitigation budget, we have a barrier mitigation budget for multifamily. In the current plan, PAs added to the renters plan to contribute $10,000 in barrier mitigation funding to assist the smaller multifamily building units, which is 5 to 25 units. Because some of these smaller units did not have access to funding to address weatherization barriers that were pre-existing, and this new 3-year plan will continue to allow the $10,000 threshold for any pre-weatherization barriers that are present. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to introduce my manager, Caitlin Tessier, that will be discussing education.
Thank you, Marilyn, and good morning, everyone. My name is Caitlin Tessier, and I'm the residential manager in energy efficiency at Eversource. So just to round out our presentation on our initiatives, I'd like to speak briefly about our education programs. MassSave offers various K-12 education programs. These programs are offered to all of our educators in the state with a high focus on our environmental justice communities. And some PAs also offer programs in addition to K-12. So to support our teachers, MassSave offers professional development workshops for educators. They're offered to K-12 teachers at no cost, and this includes training on energy efficiency, new technologies, climate science, and workforce development. And it also provides hands-on activities and experiments that teachers can bring back to their classrooms. Additionally, for students, we have career workshops, student workshops, and Matt's Green Step. These are in-person or virtual sessions focused on promoting careers in energy efficiency, sustainability, and they provide hands-on learning. Green Step targets technical high schools initially to offer specialized training workshops while increasing awareness of job opportunities in these emerging industries. So really focus on promoting the career channels that we have within energy efficiency, weatherization, our home performance, and clean energy productions. We're always looking for interested communities to partner with for our school programs, and more information can be found on masssave.com. In the next section of our presentation, we're going to focus on another one of our key pillars, which is enhancing program access for all. And just as a reminder, please continue to ask any questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Enhancing program access for all includes language access, community efforts, a strong and diverse workforce, and an improved customer experience. The PAs understand the importance of reaching and serving all of our customers and making every effort to eliminate any potential barriers customers may encounter. As such, this planned term, the PAs commissioned a language access research to better understand how to serve our customers who speak languages other than English. The goal of this work was to understand our current customer experience from a non-English speaker, look for better opportunities to improve, understand the needs of these populations, and to make recommendations to incorporate within both our marketing and implementation strategies. Preliminary recommendations include dedicating language access budget, dedicating support resources for language access, translation and interpretation services, both in materials for vital documents as well as in-person and virtual interactions, ensuring that there's language access continuity across all vendors. So what that means is if customers are indicating language preferences at intake, ensuring that throughout their whole experience with Mass Save, we're continuing that, that journey in their preferred language, developing a centralized language access policy, and then just improved overall data collection on our language opportunities. The PAs are looking forward to completing this project and beginning to incorporate some of these recommendations into our programs for enhanced access for our language other than English populations. Thank you. And I would now like to introduce Sonakshi Saxena from National Grid, and she's going to speak about our community efforts.
Hi everyone, I'm Sonakshi Saxena. I'm a senior analyst at National Grid on the Customer Energy Management team. And again, thank you everyone for taking the time out to listening to us, break down the 3-year plan draft. And I'm going to be focusing on one of the key tenets of our plan, really, is the community efforts and how we've come together with the communities to really drive out this effort. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is our designated equity communities. So if we could quickly go on to the next slide, please, Corey. Thank you. So the PA is basically, we were tasked to identify a few designated equity communities for this upcoming term to basically find where most of our vulnerable customers are and how we can really target all of our efforts to make sure that we're serving them the best that we can, while talking to communities, leveraging all of our community partnerships and working really with the community voices to ensure that the incentives reach the customers the best way that they can. So just a little bit on the criteria. So we set the threshold for the communities having at least 35% renters, because we know time and again, it's been, it's a well-known fact that renters have been a population that don't necessarily, that haven't received much of the incentives in the past few years, and we want to make sure that we're really reaching the renters in this term. So one of the key criteria was making sure that the communities have at least 35% renters. We also wanted to make sure that the renters have active electric accounts in the town to have a good number of customers to target the offers to. So that's why you see the number of renters criteria column. And not to get too into the weeds, but there's also criteria for, percent LMI. We wanted to make sure that the equity communities that we're looking at have at least 50% low and moderate income customers that we can identify. Oh, sorry about that. And we're also ensuring that to really make sure that we electrify the customers who are on delivered fuel and electric resistance first. We also wanted to see, what percentage of those customers lie in these communities. So that's sort of the idea behind why we came up with a list of these communities. If you can go on to the next slide, Corey, you will see that the CLC or the Cape Light Compact has a unique territory. So, both these communities, Oak Bluffs and Tisbury, they have electric oil or propane fuel options. They are both EJ communities and they're both within CFP offering. And so, that it's a little bit different as to why they were in this list, but they're still very much an equity priority community for the PAs. Okay, now coming to Community First Partnership, it's one of our most important programs that we work on with the community, with community voices, with community leaders, with energy advocates that have really truly become such an important part of what we do, just reaching out to their neighbors, reaching out to the people in the community and talking about what mass save is, what energy efficiency is, what decarbonization really means for the community and the Commonwealth as a whole. So we took your feedback. We really delved deep into it, and we are proposing a few programmatic changes. We're looking at partnership structure modifications. We're definitely looking at increased funding for energy advocates. We're streamlining the marketing process and also offering additional marketing support to make sure that there's less delays in marketing approvals. We're hoping to coordinate better with the communities to improve data access, and we're also hoping to coordinate our small business efforts with the communities more comprehensively and throughout the year. Thanks, Corey. So this is what we're proposing in the draft. So we're hoping to have 60 community first partners in the upcoming term, individually or as partner groups. And the idea is to have one energy advocate per group. Of course, there can be different configurations to this, that there are only 2 communities within a partner group, just to ensure that the energy advocates' resources and time is not too spread too thinly, and they're able to perform their role as well as they can. And while we're still working through the details of this, we are proposing that the funding for each community partner or partner group would range somewhere between 20K to 85K based on various criteria. And the considerations that we're looking at, is the energy advocate part-time, or are they full-time, or what are the community's goals really, right? What are they prioritizing? What is the strength of the application? Have they identified ways of really targeting and reaching their priority populations? Do they have some, pipeline of doing that? What kind of connections they have in the community? What kind of other relationships can they really leverage? And so there's a lot of factors that are going to go into the consideration, and we really want to take a conversation. We really want to take a mutual collaboration approach in identifying these pathways for what the CFP program for each community partner can really look like in the upcoming term. And yeah, that's what we're thinking. And you can see the total CFP annual award budget that we currently have planned, and the total 3-year CFP award budget. So that's kind of where we're thinking. And yeah. And very important, we are also really excited about continuing our community education grant. This is really truly something that captures the spirit of what we strive to achieve through our community relationships, right? Like at the end of the day, Mass Save and all the programs that we have are really just grassroots level way of engaging with residents of the Commonwealth to talk about their health, their safety, the future of Commonwealth, of what decarbonization and energy efficiency really means for all of us who reside here. So we are continuing the community education grant. There's funding available anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 on an annual basis. There are a variety of things, innovative things that applicants can do with that funding, including hosting energy efficiency community events, or, being really creative with the ways they engage with the communities about the Mass Save programs and the incentives that we offer. And just to note that the current cycle is open, and we are accepting applications for the community education grant through May 31st. And there's an upcoming educational session or information session on May 16th. And we hope to see many of you there. This is a really easy lift, a really great opportunity to just engage with the community and your neighbors and your residents about the amazing incentives that, if I may say so, we have available through Mass Save. And yeah, that was all I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna give it over to Jenny Sensirin.
Thank you, Sonakshi. My name is Jenny Saint-Julien. I oversee programs related to equity, strategic partnerships, and workforce development. Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our workforce efforts as well as our supplier diversity efforts. So we've made a lot of progress with our supplier diversity efforts, and we hope to build on that momentum as well as feedback from our stakeholder ecosystem for the 25 to 27 plan. This year, and for the upcoming 3-year plan, we are more intentional about matchmaking during our supplier diversity summits. So what we've done is we've held listening sessions with our stakeholder ecosystem to really dive into challenges that diverse vendors have and accessing mass save contracts. On the demand side, we are meeting with procurement, our lead vendors, our CAP agencies to understand how to best create space for diverse suppliers. And based on these conversations, we hope to make matches that will lead to subcontracts. Please join us this year on June 13th at Bristol Community College at 9 a.m. And at Roxbury Community College on June 25th for our supplier diversity summits to see what we have going on this year and what it will potentially look like for the next 3 years. Also, we hope to develop a diverse vendor network on masssave.com to facilitate upskilling within that network, as well as to offer virtual resources and virtual training offers for continuous support to our diverse vendors and contractors. So for the upcoming 3-year plan, National Grid and Eversource will continue with the Clean Energy Pathways program, connecting youth from environmental justice communities to jobs and energy efficiency via an HVAC or weatherization track. We'll continue to work with our CBOs to provide wraparound services, as well as our business partners to provide employment for those youth. And to tie everything together and really keep us rooted in environmental and economic justice, PAs intend to offer diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice training for all PAs, lead vendors, and other participating partners throughout the 25 to 27 year cycle. It's critical that Mass Save partners have a common baseline understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and to ensure that this is at the root of our program delivery strategy for energy efficiency. Thank you for your attention. I will now pass it on to Jennifer Applebaum, who will speak about our partnership with Mass CEC.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Applebaum. I'm the Managing Director of Workforce Development at the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. And I'm grateful to have the chance today to talk to you about the workforce equity programs that are funded out of the Mass Save Plan and that we administer in coordination with Mass Save and the PAs. So the programs are expanding, which I think was noted earlier in the webinar, from a level of 12 million a year to 24 million a year in annual funding. This is based on the increased need that we're seeing and also the demand for the existing set of grants that have come across in the previous years. The way this program is structured is that not only does it make awards directly to provide funding for these types of programs, but it also really leans into fostering coordination across the Massachusetts ecosystem. So currently there are over 100 grantees and partners that are working together to provide these kind of training and business support opportunities. And one of the key tenets of the program is that they're working together in communities of practice to share those things that are working for their learners and things that can work better also to meet employer demands. In addition to that sharing that happens across grantees, we at Mass CEC also directly provide technical assistance to the partners to make sure that they're aware of opportunities that are at the table to improve these programs, and that they can really use the data that's coming back to drive and iterate their design. Another thing that we try and do at Mass CEC is make sure that in addition to this funding, that it's optimized alongside other state workforce development funding that we have access to at the Clean Energy Center, and that also is available across other public agencies in the state. So many times we're looking at not only what can be done with these dollars, but how can we lean on investments that are made by our local mass hire workforce boards, by Commonwealth Corporation, by other agencies that are key players within the workforce development system. Additionally, now with such an influx of federal funding, there's an opportunity to further optimize these offerings alongside the federal assistance. So a good example of that is that the state of Massachusetts has recently applied for formula funding for training for residential energy efficiency contractors, and that those resources will come to the state, provide an opportunity to augment the work that can be done here, and also give us the opportunity to use these funds in a way that can reach more folks that need the training, meet the needs of employers, but also lean into the commitments that we have around workforce and equity. To make this work best and to create capacity and flexibility, we offer these grants at several different levels. So we have planning grants that are available for institutions that are clear about the need that may be available in their community, but need more support to shape it. Capacity grants that really take folks from their plan to their next step, in many cases recognizing that especially small community-based organizations may need some additional dollars to go from a really smart plan to a full implementation. And then we also have multi-year implementation awards that help the grantees, once they're ready, institute these programs and institute them with a level of reliability, not needing to necessarily apply year in, year out in order to keep the program going. Across these different types of grants, we emphasize a range of strategies, including early career awareness as early as middle school and high school, training for new entrant workers, which can include youth, young adults, can include folks that are underemployed, unemployed, or changing jobs. We also provide funding for upskilling programs for existing workers to continue to get their skills up around new technology, and in some cases for fossil fuel workers to transition to the demands of the clean energy economy. We also have business support grants that focus heavily on trying to increase the success of minority and women-owned businesses in the climate critical space. We're doing all of this in conversation and alignment with the Mass Save priorities that have been identified by the PAs, many of which have been a part of our existing funding portfolio and that we look forward to expanding on, such as serving contractors who speak languages other than English, continuing to really think about the barriers that need to be removed for small businesses, what resources and what training can help that happen, and then ensuring that as we fund training programs that we're also funding the wraparound support services that are needed for learners to be successful in those trainings, to transition to placement with employers, and then to be retained and advance along these career paths. So I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you today, and I'm going to pass it back to Caitlin.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. The last pillar of our plan that we'd like to share our efforts is to deliver an improved customer experience. You've already heard throughout the presentation various areas where we're looking to enhance our experience through turnkey facilitated pathways, enhancements to add pre-verification for rebates, and streamline our rebate processes. And now I want to share a little bit about our plan for a statewide call center. The PAs are very excited about this project. With all the new offerings and services that we're implementing, the PAs, the programs for customers are more comprehensive and integrated than ever before. So we feel it's key to have a streamlined customer experience and a single resource for customer questions and first call resolutions. The statewide call center will provide customers with a single point of entry into the residential and small business programs, independent of where they should start. It'll include general information about customer energy efficiency, electrification technologies, options, and then the programmatic pathways for customers to get started based on their specific information and preference. So to move forward with this, the PAs are looking for an industry expert with a best-in-class technology stack and the need to support equity and language services. So we're looking at a best-in-class technology stack, really important to interact with customers in the way that they want to interact with us, whether that be on the phone, through a virtual or chat, and to have bilingual options or translation services available, again, focusing on that enhanced access for all and additional language services for our customers. The PA's work on this project's ongoing. We're hoping to have a soft rollout for this starting in 2025. Thank you for all of your time today to learn about the 25 to 27 energy efficiency and decarbonization draft plan. Just a few final wrap-up items before we move to our Q&A. Please continue to submit questions using that Q&A function at the bottom. So just to recap again, Stephanie talked a lot about this at the beginning. Together in our next plan, we've got robust goals that we're set out to achieve. We're striving to weatherize 174,000 households, including 48,000 for low and moderate income, install over 115,000 heat pumps, including 16,000 for low and moderate income. We're set out to reduce GHG emissions by 1 million metric tons and deliver $13.8 billion in total benefits to customers. In order to achieve these goals, we're planning to invest $3.5 billion in customer incentives, with $1 billion paid to low and moderate income customers. And as Stephanie said at the beginning, we definitely have our work cut out for us, but with this team and these partners, we're confident in what we can achieve. The PAs are excited about the direction of this new draft plan, and we're looking forward to working with everybody together. So some key dates that are upcoming. A reminder, this plan is in draft form, so we are looking for your feedback. There are some EEAC listening sessions coming up in April and June. We encourage you to attend and provide your feedback there. There's registration information on the EEAC website. We can certainly provide that information along with the deck and Q&A. We're also planning some follow-up partner meetings in May and June, which I will talk a little bit more about on the next slide. And then just general plan edits. So edits to this plan are intended to be finalized by mid-August. The plan is going to be filed with the department by the end of October, and then the plan order we're expecting by February 2025. Slide, please. Next slide. So for additional program information, I understand that this was a long presentation covering a variety of aspects of our draft plan. We are planning additional focused meetings for various specific partner groups to really get into the nitty-gritty. So these are just some of the additional meetings that are upcoming. We've got a heating and cooling breakfast, so those folks can ask any additional questions related to retail items. Our monthly best practices working group with home performance contractors and independent installation contractors. We have a follow-up presentation with our CFP partners. There's a webinar series for HERS raters and quarterly CAP meetings for our community action agency partners. But please also feel free to reach out to PAs with any questions that you might have additionally. But hopefully this presentation today, as well as some of these deep dives, will help answer any questions that folks have. Thank you again for all of your time and engagement today. We appreciate your continued partnership. This concludes our formal presentation, and we're now going to move to the Q&A section. So for this portion, I would like to introduce Jane Lino from Eversource, and she's going to be moderating our Q&A.
Thanks, Caitlin. So we're going to start going through some of the questions that everyone put in the Q&A. We already tried to answer as many as we could kind of on the spot, and we are going to answer as many as we can live now. And as Caitlin just mentioned, we'll also send out a list of questions along with the deck and some of our answers to them. So if you don't get your question answered today, an answer is going to be coming your way. So let's get started. I have a first question, I think, for Joel on the residential new construction program. What technologies will be included, and what will the incentive level be for the market transformation adders for single family homes and multifamily new construction programs? And I don't know, Corey, if you're able to put the slides back on the screen. I think we had some incentive charts there that Joel was going to talk through. Maybe not. I'll let Joel start.
Sure. If I can share my screen, I can call them
Okay,
up.
great. Thank you.
All right. So can everyone see those charts all right?
Yeah.
Great. So these are the proposed overview of the program. These are included in the draft plan. I just looked on the EEAC website. It doesn't look like that's been updated, but the draft plan that's on the Mass Save website, you'll find all these values and the proposed additions on that version there. So you can head over there to check these out. For single family 1 to 4 units, you'll see the market transformation adders are here. So targeting things like Wi-Fi thermostats, induction cooktops, split system heat pump water heaters, some different, Energy Star certification and DOE Zero Energy Ready. And then you'll see at the bottom here that one of the big additions for the next 3-year plan is for new construction and major renovations to include embodied carbon reduction. So that'll be included as well in the next 3-year plan, or it's currently proposed. And looking over to multifamily, a little bit bigger of a list here. So similar things of Wi-Fi thermostats, induction cooktops, and then you'll see a couple different variations of water heaters, because there's that exception for fossil fuels to be allowed for hot water heating in multifamily, but you'll see some technologies like ground source heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, centralized systems, and units, along with some various items like enhanced design charrettes and high-rise whole building infiltration testing. So that's just a quick overview. Head over to the Mass Save website. So that version of the plan has these values and the adders in there that you can take a look at. So thanks, Jane.
Great, thanks, Joel. Next question we have is on residential turnkey solutions, RTS, for Chris McClellan. Are you staffing up with clear results or lead vendors, or is the intent to rely more on HPCs? How are you investing in training the HEA auditors?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Thankfully, we have the opportunity this year to roll out some of these new turnkey solutions in a handful of communities for some measures and statewide for others, for moderate income customers. So we're already, beginning the upskilling process. And I think it's a great opportunity to potentially leverage some of our workforce development dollars and efforts to build up our lead vendor and HPC workforce. To support the level of demand that we expect to or hope to have for these offers. What exactly that gap in current capabilities and future needs is a bit of a vendor by vendor assessment, but we're ready to tackle the challenge and provide additional resources where needed.
Great, thanks, Chris. Next question is also for you. Will the RTS program offer options for ground source heat pumps as well as air source heat pumps?
Yeah, it's a great question, one we've been toying with as well. We are at the point right now where we are building out sort of the technical framework that we plan to deploy behind the turnkey model. And what I mean by that is really like best practices and system design and sizing and installation, so we can all, report a similar framework of work quality. In that will come a site-by-site assessment of the potential cost and savings for a project. So we can't rule out or rule in any specific technology at this point in time, but we're open to all potential opportunities, including air to water, which I saw mentioned as well, if that's the best opportunity that the building presents us.
Great. Thanks, Chris. We have a couple more questions for rebates. So the first one, Melanie, if you could answer that. With rebates going forward, shouldn't Mass Save be able to offer residential homeowners that have second homes some type of rebate incentive for decarbonization? Even if it was at a reduced level, it would give the homeowner some type of incentive and would be beneficial for all parties.
Yeah, thank you. And it's a great question. And we're actually in preliminary discussions right now, working on a rebate tier that does accommodate customer scenarios like second homes, also existing heat pump replacement, or installing a heat pump in a previously unconditioned space like basements and 3-season porches. So, again, we are discussing this. So the structure and rebate amount is TBD.
Great, thanks. And another question for you, Melanie, with rebates going forward, shouldn't Mass Save be able to offer residential homeowner? Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I pasted in the same same question twice. Oh, Will heat pump installers have to be in the HPIN network in order for the customer to qualify for rebates?
Yes, that is a great question. And yes, customers must use a member of the heat pump installer network to be eligible for mass save rebates.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I see a few other questions that came in. I think we could have one here for Caitlin. Can you explain how the statewide contact center would relate to the Lean statewide client service center?
Sure. So the statewide contact center, this project is ongoing. We're currently out to bid looking for a vendor, and there are going to be a lot of coordination, a lot of conversations in coordination with existing vendors kind of going forward as this project unfolds. We are still looking for the low income client services center to be the point of contact for low income customers. So that still remains. But you know, a lot of these details in integration across vendors will be unfolding over the next couple of months as we onboard a vendor and start working through the details of how this is going to operationalize.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. I don't see any other immediate questions to answer. So unless any of the speakers have any other questions that they can answer on the spot now, I think we can wrap up a little bit early and get the rest of the answers back to you later in the week. No one's speaking up, so I'm guessing we're all good for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for engaging with us. And as mentioned earlier, we'll share decks and the answers to the questions sometime later this week. Thank you so much.